Hello, dear students. Welcome back to another session on financial management. In the previous class, we discussed about the problems on Gordon's model. Today, let us continue with the same concept, dividend relevance model of Gordon. We are going to discuss some of the problems on Gordon's model. Then, if possible, we will be moving towards the next concept, that is of dividend irrelevance model of Modigliani and Miller. If not, I'm going to conclude the Gordon's model in this session, and let us discuss Modigliani and Miller model in the next class. Now the problem is like this. So it is on your screen now. From the particulars given below relating to three companies, calculate the market price of the shares of the companies using Gordon's dividend model. Now here, um, they have asked us to calculate market price of the shares, okay, using Gordon's model, and they have given the particulars of three companies: G Limited, N Limited, and D Limited. Return on investment of G Limited is 20%, N Limited is 15%, and D Limited is 10%. Cost of equity of G Limited is 15%, N Limited is 15%, and D Limited is 15%. EPS, earning per share of G Limited 8%, 8 rupees, N Limited 8 rupees, and D Limited is 8 rupees. And they have also given the retention ratio. Now here retention ratio of G Limited is 25%, N Limited is 25%, D Limited is 25%. I hope you know the formula. Okay, it is given here. Market price of G Limited is equal to E into 1 minus B divided by K E minus BR. Now here BR is nothing but it's the growth rate. Okay. Now E stands for earning per share. It is given in the problem here. Okay. Every particular, so they have mentioned, they have given clearly. EPS is known 8 rupees. E means E stands for EPS. Now here 1 minus B means it is a dividend payout ratio. So 1 minus B means dividend payout ratio. Now dividend payout ratio, it is not clearly given in the problem, that we have to identify, and we can easily calculate the dividend payout ratio if we know retention ratio. That means out of 100%, if 25% is retained in the firm, 75% would be the dividend payout ratio. It is simple, right? So here in the problem they have given retention ratio. That means whatever left, so that would be the dividend payout ratio. Now out of 100%, if they are retaining 20% of the profit, 75% of the profit must be the dividend payout ratio. So now here 1 minus B, that we can easily calculate. Now here 1 minus B here, so it must be dividend payout ratio. They have given retention ratio 25%. So when the 25% is the retention ratio, 75% must be the dividend payout. So 1 minus 0.75. Okay, kindly make corrections, and here answer will get changed. Okay, and 0.15, it means KE, that is cost of equity. It is given in the problem 15%. And B into R. Now here B means it's a retention ratio 25%, 0.25. Now in the numerator, kindly make changes. It is 0.75, not 0.25. In the denominator, it is 0.25. It's a retention ratio that we have to take, and it is the growth rate. And R means, R stands for rate of return. Now rate of return is given, return on investment 20%, 0.2. if we do all the calculations, of course, here the figure will change. Okay, so kindly incorporate changes. Now here kindly note that um, here the 1 minus b means it's a dividend payout ratio. Since the dividend retention ratio is 25%, 75% must be the dividend payout. So instead of 0.25 in the numerator, you have to write down 0.75. Okay, and the 1 minus 0.75 means we'll get only 0.25. 0.25 must be multiplied with the 8. That will leads to the answer of 2. Now here instead of 6 we have to write 2, and in the denominator the figure will be the same. 0.1 will get, that means in the denominator the things whatever written here in the material, so they are as it is same. There are no changes. Only changes is there in the case of numerator, that is especially with the retention ratio, dividend payout ratio. So since 25% is the retention ratio, 75% would be the dividend payout ratio, and 1 minus b must be the dividend payout ratio. And if we do all the calculations, we will be getting rupees 20 instead of rupees 60. We'll get rupees 20. Kindly uh, incorporate changes. Now instead of 6 we have to write in the numerator rupees 2. Okay, that is 2 divided by 0.1, we will be getting rupees 20. Okay, so same in the case of n limited also, we have to follow the same thing. In the numerator, 8 into 8 is the EPS into 1 minus 0.75, because retention ratio is 25%. We have to write in the numerator the dividend payout ratio, that is 0.75. And if we do the calculation in the numerator, instead of 6 we'll get 2. Okay, we'll get 2, and in the denominator all the figures are same, so no changes at all. Cost of equity is 0.15 minus B is nothing but the dividend retention ratio. They have given here 25%, and R is the return on investment 15%. They have given here, and if you do all the calculations, we'll be getting 17.78. So instead of 6 here, we have to write only 2, and in the denominator the figure will be same, 0.1125. So there will be no changes, but the market price will change, so we'll get rupees 17.78. Then in the case of D limited, again in the new denominator the figures are same, and in the numerator only we have to incorporate changes. So the dividend payout ratio we have to take, so 1 minus 0.75. Okay, so that makes here in the numerator 2. Okay, 8 into 0.25 means we'll get 2, and in the denominator the figures are same, and so we'll get 0.125. And if we do the calculations, 2 divided by 0.2125, we'll get 16 rupees as the market value of share. So this is about the solution of this problem. Let us consider another one. Okay, now this problem is like this. Using Gordon's dividend model, calculate share prices of the following companies. Okay, they have given 2 companies. On the basis of Gordon's dividend model, we have to calculate the market price of shares. Okay, Canfin Homes, Canara Bank. Okay, it is related, linked with the Canara Bank. LIC Housing Finance Limited. Okay, it is linked with the LIC. Now there are 2 companies, and required information also they have given. So with this, we are supposed to calculate the market value of shares or market price of shares based on the Gordon's dividend model. Now let us go through with the problem. Return on investment they have given for Canara Fin Homes 15% and LIC Housing Finance Limited 14%. Cost of equity for Canfin Homes 15%, for LIC 12%, earning per share for Canfin Homes 10 rupees, and for LIC Housing Finance 16 rupees. Dividend payout ratio for Canfin Homes 25%, and for LIC Housing Finance 32%. Okay, now with this information we have to solve the problem. Now formula you know now, that is market value of share is equal to E into 1 minus B, that is dividend payout ratio, divided by cost of equity minus growth rate. Now here cost of equity stands for K, or sorry, K stands for cost of equity, BR stands for growth rate stands for BR, or BR stands for growth rate. Okay, now here E stands for earning per share. Now let us proceed with the Canfin Homes. E stands for earning per share. Earning per share is given in the problem 10 for Canfin Homes Limited, and the dividend payout ratio is given, that is 25%. Okay, so when the dividend payout ratio is given, the rest of the part will be the dividend retention ratio, right? Out of 100, if they are paying 25, that means they are going to hold with themselves a 75 part, right? So dividend payout, that is 1 minus B, would be 0.25, 25%. Okay, and then what else we required? We require cost of equity, KE. KE is given cost of equity for Canfin's Home Limited 15%. So 0.15 would be the cost of equity, and we require B into R, that means growth rate, and growth rate can be calculated by multiplying. Growth rate is the product of the dividend retention ratio and the return on investment. Now here dividend retention ratio, so straight away they have not given, but we have to assume, or we have to calculate easily. We can calculate easily. So dividend payout ratio, since they have given 25%, 75% would be the retention ratio. So B is 75%, that means 0.75, and R is nothing but it's a return on investment. It is also given in the problem 15%, so 0.15. And if we do all the calculations, we'll be getting 2.5 divided by 0.0375, and that would leads to rupees 66.67, and that would be the market value of, or market price of, share of Canfin Homes Limited. Now let us move towards the another company, that is LIC Housing. Again, using the same formula, first we have to identify the particulars to fit problem formula. E stands for earning per share, given in the problem 16 rupees. 1 minus B means dividend payout ratio, that is given in the problem 32%. Okay, that stands for 0.32. Then KE, cost of equity, given 12%. Cost of equity is given 12%. Okay, again here some print mistake is there. Kindly incorporate, instead of 0.15 you have to write 0.12. Okay, because the cost of equity they have given here. Okay, this figure you have to write 0.12. okay, then dividend payout ratio is given 32%. That means the rest of the part would be the dividend retention ratio, that is 0.68. So this is right. Okay, and the return on investment they have given, R stands for return on investment, they have given 14%. That means 0.14. Okay, now in the numerator the value, I think we'll get the same figure, 5.12. okay, what changes is here in the denominator, because of 0.12 instead of 15. Okay, they have taken, I believe, this figure, but they are supposed to take this. Okay, 12%. 12% stands for 0.12. Okay, let's have a calculation. 0.68. First we have to identify the product of these two things, that means growth rate we have to calculate. 0.68 into 0.14 will get 0.0952. okay, 0.0952. and if we deduct 0.09, wait a second, 0.0952 from 0.12, we will be getting 0.0248. Okay, 0.0248. So here 1 2 is extra, 0.0248. So if we do the calculation, 5.12 divided by 0.0248, we will be getting 206.45. Okay, the answer is right. Answer is right. Only what they have considered a wrong figure here, but the final answer is right. Written they have mentioned the right answer, but here I think by mistaken they have mistakenly taken a wrong figure. So this is about the solution of this problem. Let us move towards another one. Okay. Now the problem is like this. The following 7 companies are selected for having the same return on investment at 12%. Okay. That means all the 7 companies are having the same R value. R stands for return on investment, and that is at the rate of 12%. And the same EPS, and again EPS is also same for all the 7 companies. 12% would be the R and E would be 20 for all the companies. However, their cost of capital and dividend payout ratio are different at the figures shown below. Okay, so they are different in terms of dividend payout and cost of equity. For company A, dividend payout would be 10%. That means 90% would be the retention ratio, and the cost of equity, that is KE, would be 16. For company B, dividend payout would be 20%. That means 80% would be the retention ratio, and cost of equity is 15%. For company C, 30% would be the payout ratio and 70% would be the retention ratio, and cost of equity is 14%. For D, 40% dividend payout, 60% dividend retention, 13% would be the KE. Then for E, 50% dividend payout, 50% retention, and 12 is KE. For F, 60% dividend payout and 40% dividend retention, and 11 is KE. For G, 70% dividend payout and 30% dividend retention, and cost of equity KE is 10. Now we are supposed to use Gordon's dividend model to identify the market prices of shares. Okay, here in the problem they have given that EPS would be the same for all the 7 companies. That means it stands at rupees 20, and the rate of return or return on investment. Okay, rate of return or return on investment, so that would be same for all the companies. So that stands at 12%. That means 0.12. Okay. Now let us see the solution part. For company A, dividend payout ratio. So they have given 10. That means dividend retention 90. Cost of equity is 16% as it is given in the problem. So formula, market price is equal to E into 1 minus B divided by KE minus BR. BR is nothing but the retention ratio into the rate of return. Now 20 is the EPS, that is earning per share, and dividend payout ratio is 10. That means 0.10. Cost of equity is 16%, 0.16, and dividend retention ratio is 90%, 0.9, and rate of return is 12%. It is common for all the companies, so 0.12. And if we do all the calculations, we'll be getting rupees 38.46 as the market price. Now let's next move towards company B. Dividend payout ratio is 20 and retention ratio, that makes retention ratio at 80%. Cost of equity is 15%. E is same as 20. Okay. Dividend payout ratio 20. Cost of equity 15. Retention ratio 80. And this thing is our rate of return 12%. If we do all the calculations, we'll be getting rupees 74.07 as the market price. Then company C, so which is having a dividend payout ratio of 0.30, that means 30%, that makes a retention ratio at 70%, that means 0.70. Cost of equity is 0.14, 14%. If we apply formula and do all the calculations, we will be getting rupees 107.14 as the market value of share. Then for company D, dividend payout ratio is 0.40%, that means 0.40, and retention ratio is 60%, 0.60. And then cost of equity is 0.13, that means 13%. And if we do all the necessary calculations, we'll be getting rupees 137.93 as market price of share. Then company E, which is having a dividend payout ratio of 50% and retention ratio of 50%. Cost of equity is 12%. If we do all the necessary calculations, we'll be getting rupees 166.67 as the market value of share. Then for company F, 60% is the dividend payout ratio and the retention ratio is 40%, cost of equity is 11%, and if we do all the necessary calculations, we'll be getting rupees 193.55 as the market price of shares. Then company G, dividend payout ratio is 70% and retention ratio is 30%, cost of equity is 10%. If we do all the calculations, we'll be getting rupees 218.75 as the market value of shares. So this is about the Gordon's Gordon's problem on Gordon's model. Now we'll continue with the dividend irrelevance model in the next class. Okay, thank you.